All right, man, peace. So the CBS Morning News had a very interesting segment from a digital media company called Refinery 29 pertaining to the obesity problem amongst modern day females in America. Except instead of taking the tact or the angle of obesity being a problem amongst modern day females, they choose to take the angle of obese women are underrepresented in mass media in an attempt to try to normalize obesity amongst modern day women. Anyway, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
This week we are partnering with digital media company Refinery 29 for our new series called My Generation. Refinery 29 is dedicated to issues affecting millennial women.
Well, there are a lot of issues affecting quote unquote millennial women, particularly since most millennial women are liberal. So most of the problems that they suffer from are self-induced, particularly pertaining to many of the expectations that they have been indoctrinated with from mass media, on television, so on and so forth, but not so much pertaining to their weight, but more pertaining to what their role is in regards to their gender.
This morning, we explore the often overlooked 67%. That is the 67% of women in America who Refinery 29 says are considered plus size.
Well, 67% is roughly equivalent to 2 out of every 3 women. So if Refinery 29 is alleging that 2 out of every 3 women in America is a size 14 and up, then basically Refinery 29 is saying that 2 out of every 3 women in America are clinically obese. So they're doing a disservice to overweight women by trying to normalize that body type, because it's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help these women, and it's not going to help the children that they're trying to raise.
14 and up, despite being a significant majority of the population, plus
allegedly a significant majority. We don't know if actually 2 out of every 3 women in America are size 14 and up. This is just a jumping off point for their article. Most media articles are based off of narrative. Once again, as I tell you brothers incessantly, the real point of the female empowerment movement is to try to demean and marginalize the man and what his motivations are. They know that men like a certain shape of woman. Now, there's nothing wrong with a thick woman per se, but, thick has to be defined. If your stomach has a wider circumference than your ass, you're not thick, you're fat. Okay? So they're trying to normalize obese, out of shape, and quite frankly, physically unappealing women so that they can really just take a shot at men and to tell women, look, you should stop trying to live according to what men will find physically attractive. It's really just a roundabout or a circuitous way to promote lesbianism.
plus size women only make up a reported 1 to 2% of what we see in the media. Refinery 29 is working to change that imbalance.
I grew up reading magazines and really using them as my personal Bible.
There was never really anybody on TV that I could personally relate to.
Now look at what these two or these three overweight women said. They said that they spend most of their time reading magazines and television and how it affected their self-image. Really, all I got out of that is that the woman spends too much time watching TV and reading these silly magazines. If you're ever in the supermarket and you see most of the magazines geared towards women, you really won't get a very high opinion of women if you were to read the magazines that were geared towards them. Because if you read those magazines, the perception that you would have for the target audience of most of these magazines is that, wow, they must really be trying to appeal to a demographic of people who, number one, are not intelligent, number two, are not very confident, and number three, are not very realistic. I mean, they have articles like 80 ways to get a man, 75 ways to keep your man, and all this silly shit. I mean, men are very, very simple creatures. Those men who actually have male traits and are not acting like females. Basically, all you have to do is be supportive, be positive, pleasure your man in the bedroom, and cook a nice meal. If you do those things, the man is pretty much going to be satisfied for the most part. Unless, like I said, you're dealing with a man with mental issues, which many of these modern day females actually prefer because it makes them feel superior. Not to digress, but I've stated this in the past. Many brothers claim that the modern day women, particularly the black woman, likes thugs. It's not so much that the black woman likes thugs, is that most of these modern day women are agents of chaos. A lot of them are degenerates, and they're drawn to degenerates. The thug is a degenerate, right? And so are most of these liberal women. It's easier for them to be with a fuck up than with a guy who actually has his shit together, because then if the relationship doesn't work out, she can always blame the man. She can always say he was a fuck up, right? Whether or not it was her fault, the relationship didn't work, or it was his fault. If she's dealing with a man who has all his shit together, she knows that if the relationship doesn't work, it's going to haunt her for the rest of her life.
The plus size girl was always the funny friend and never the main character.
The only representation I ever saw of my size was Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
Well, that's bullshit, because I remember being a child and seeing numerous television shows that have fat women as lead characters. I remember Roseanne. I remember Nell Carter on Give Me a Break. All right. Those was a couple of fat broads on TV that were lead characters. So I don't know what TV shows they're watching.
So a villain.
If I can't be defined, then am I even worth anything if there's no definition of who I am?
Well, your lack of self-worth is a you issue. If your self-worth is predicated off of what you see on television and in magazines, then you're not really a three-dimensional character. You're a caricature. And according to what I'm constantly being told, this is according to what I constantly hear, supposedly women are strong and they're self-defined, and a man doesn't dictate to them who they are. Allegedly. This is what we're inundated with as males or men in this society, that women are self-defined and that they're strong and that they're liberated and that they're independent. So I'm not sure why they're constantly sending out these mixed messages about how they don't know who they are and they don't know how to define themselves. I mean, which one is it? Unless you're trying to sell me some wolf tickets, which I already know what the answer is. You're full of shit. All right, as most women in general are full of shit. You have some diamonds in the rough out here, but for the most part, most women are full of shit. And when I say full of shit, I don't mean that to be an insult. It's just the truth. Most women don't even know who the hell they are. And they're not really supposed to know who they are. They're supposed to be defined by their society at large, and their role is supposed to be defined for them. Because if the woman's role is not defined, she's going to seek out chaos and she's going to seek out anarchy. That's her nature. She has to be reined in by the man and given restrictions and parameters. Period.
The standard is not even your own personal standard. It's the standard that other people give you.
Well, we live in a society where standards are created. It's called culture. It's called civilization. There are standards that are created for us all. There are standards of dress. There are standards of conduct. Just the fact that the modern day woman believes that she should not have to appeal or conform to standards of society shows you that, once again, she is an agent of chaos. And she's totally out of control and has to be reined in for her own good and for the good of everybody else around her.
So where does that leave us as plus women?
That leaves you woefully out of shape, miserable, and depressed. Look at this shit. Look at these broads. These look like some fashion photos from a fat farm. Like, come on. Get it together. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with a thick broad, but when your stomach is getting like look at this broad on the bed. trying to look sexy. Come on. We all know broad that damn big, she can't even get on top. She's gonna be out of shape. A couple pumps, she's gonna be out of shape. Breathing hard and shit. Like, come on.
And with us this morning, Refinery 29 co-founder and executive creative director Piera Gelati. Also, history-making model Denise Bidot. She's the first plus-size model to walk on multiple straight-size runways at New York Fashion Week. Piera, Denise, great to have you. Thanks for coming on. So, what was the turning point to finally make you focus on the 7% of the population?
Easy. Her knowledge that there's a sucker born every minute. She understands that there's a major market of depressed women out there. Women who are brought into the liberal mindset, who are brought into the feminazi, feminist, neoliberal fascist mindset, where they've been told that the only person who matters is them, and they've been left by themselves and lonely. So now they need someone who can tell them that everything's going to be okay. You're fine how you are. You don't need to change. Because the only way to get these women, these females really, to truly understand the error of their ways is to ostracize them. So that's why a framework has to be set up of support for them, so that in the moment when they're about to actually humble themselves, there can be an element or a force to tell them, no, keep going forward, stay proud, stay arrogant, and keep going on in your obstinacy. We need you to be a good soldier. We need you to learn to deal with your misery. We're going to tell you that everything's okay, even though you can't keep a relationship going to save your life. You're not happy at work. You're not happy at home, but you have to keep going.
So Refinery 29 is a platform that's really meant to celebrate and empower all women. And we've always been really focused on representation, to the extent that I actually used to go out and cast models on the subway and the streets of New York so that we could be really representing what real women look like.
Now, you heard what she said. She said that we have to go out on the streets of New York and show what real women look like, quote unquote. That's a shot at attractive women who are in shape. Okay? That's what that is. All this bullshit is the revenge of the ugly bitch. You can look at this female right here. She looks like Blossom's cousin. Remember the show Blossom from the early 90s? She looks like she's related to that character. Mayim Bialik, I believe her name is. I told you brothers before, whenever you see these women leading these marches and these protests, they're always unattractive. Because everything about the woman is predicated on attention. You will never see extremely attractive women leading protests and marches, because they're getting attention already. It's always going to be fat women or unattractive women like this one who are going to be leading marches or who are going to be writing books, things of that nature, because that's how they get attention. They can't get attention any other kind of way.
And last year we learned that 67% of women in the U.S. are size 14 and up, and yet media only represents them 1% to 2%. And when we did an audit of ourselves, even though we had been really focused on showing real women, we realized that we had fallen short. And for us, it was so important to...
I don't understand. How could you have been focused on showing quote unquote real women, but you fell short? So what you're saying is that women who are in shape and who actually have some type of physical appeal, they're not real women? I'm sorry, just because a female is obese, that does not make her real. They created this straw man about 67%, 2 out of every 3 women are size 14. So therefore, they represent the majority. So therefore, that's the real woman. No. What they represent is a society that has an obesity problem. You can never let a health issue become normalized because it's widespread. Just because something is the majority does not necessarily make it right, particularly when it pertains to your health. All right. This is why women can never be allowed to set standards. Ever. Because the woman, once again, is whimsical and capricious by nature. They feel different about things every day. Remember the comedian Monique? For years, she wrote all those books about skinny bitches are this and skinny bitches are that, and I hate skinny women. And as soon as her fat ass decided to go to the gym and lose some weight, all of a sudden she admitted that she was jealous of all those women that were in shape. Now let's look at some of these. Little blurbs on top of these photos. On the left, it says weight discrimination in the workplace. The troubling lack of plus-sized CEOs. I think that they mean plus-sized female CEOs. The reason why people oftentimes are quote-unquote discriminated based on their weight is because your weight is associated with your discipline. If you're not disciplined in your physique, what's implied is that you're not going to be disciplined in the workplace. That's why oftentimes people who are overweight, there is a stigma behind your weight, and justifiably so. If you can't control your weight, how are you going to control what's expected of you in the workplace? And then on top of that, when they see a plus-size woman, they associate plus-size women with depression, with an inability to have a functional personal life, as well as a lack of discipline. I mean, for all intents and purposes, anybody who has wisdom sees a woman and understands that for the most part, she's not going to be disciplined, period. Most women are only focused on making money and aggrandizing, and bringing forth some type of attention to themselves or some type of energy to themselves. That's why they go to school and college and get these degrees. is not really to attack the workforce. It's just as a way to empower themselves so that they don't have to answer to anyone, so that they can be free to spread chaos without worrying about a check or a balance. Now let's look at this person on the right-hand side, this overweight chick with the 2 dumbbells overhead. It says, no, you can't tell if a person is healthy just by looking at them. Well, I'll say this. Just because somebody is quote-unquote skinny does not mean that they're in shape. But a healthy person is not going to be as big as this person right here. But I give her credit for actually going to work out. That means that she has acknowledged that there's a problem, and she's going to try to handle the problem. Okay? At the end of the day, there is a link between body fat percentage and your health. People can acknowledge it. They can try to disregard it all they want. That is the case.
To fill that, that space and to celebrate plus size women and do better by the plus size community.
The plus size community. What is that? Does the plus size community include overweight men? You ever notice, brothers, you don't see any dudes that are overweight saying, man, I'm tired of looking in Men's Health magazine and seeing all these guys with 8-packs. They need to represent the fat dudes like me. I want to go to the runway and see a model come out with a big ass beer belly and some man titties walking down the runway with his stomach spilling over his underwear, modeling Ralph Lauren drawers. How come we can't have that? You see, men don't say or think stupid shit like that. A man looks in the mirror and says, you know what, I need to lose about 15 pounds. And then he joins the gym. The modern day liberal woman looks in the mirror and sees a fat hoe and says, you know what, I should be the standard because I'm a regular sized woman. No, bitch, you need to take your ass to the gym and shut the hell up.
What's the response been from readers thus far?
We get so many really moving letters from women saying, thank you. I've never seen myself represented in media before. I grew up not seeing someone that looked like me, and just really a lot of appreciation for.
Maybe you didn't see somebody who looked like you because you wasn't watching TV. You was too busy with your face in the refrigerator.
For being seen and being recognized.
Denise, can you see it happening in front of your eyes today, the changing perception?
Absolutely. I mean, I started modeling about 10 years ago, and what I find so remarkable is that I've been able to not only be a driving force behind this change that we're now starting to see, but also to be able to mold the next generation.
Exactly, because that's all it's about. Once again, brothers, the war is on your children. That's why I keep telling brothers, you got to be careful who you have children with, because they're not worried about the current generation. Their mentality is that the current generation and the older people are going to die off. They want to indoctrinate the children. So by the time that your son and your daughter come of age, they fully see people who are pansexual as being regular, people who are overweight as being regular, as you can't tell anybody anything about anything, right? And the sad thing is that all of these people like her and the female sitting next to her, are woefully depressed. I guarantee you, if you were to look in their bathroom cabinet, they both have at least 3 to 4 different prescription drugs in their bathroom cabinet. I promise you that. These females are going home and they popping so many pills, it's not even fucking funny. Okay? There's a reason why the prescription medication business in America is a multi-billion-dollar business. It's because of these liberal hoes right here who want to get on TV and talk all this shit and act like they're so secure. And as soon as they get home, they got to run home and pop 5 different pills and drink their bottle of wine and then finger pop themselves. Because they done ran their man off and they got into an argument with their girlfriend because now they turned lesbian. They got into an argument with their girlfriend and looking in the mirror, they hate themselves. But the only thing that they have going for them is that they have created this facade of a female liberalism that they have to try to live up to every day. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
Because now what they're seeing is so different from what we grew up with. We're creating empowering, strong, opinionated, and confident women.
They always say the same thing. We're creating opinionated women. How opinionated you are is not a plus. Okay? The only thing that matters is if you're somebody who has some form of logic, rationale, and brings forth facts that are productive. If you're just opinionated, all you are is a loud mouth. That's why I stated before, the term activist, all that shit means is a loud mouth. Most of these women just talk. They have no end game. They have no real plan. They don't bring anything to anybody. And that's why I've stated what they covet is attention. Believe me, if this woman had any discipline and could put down the chicharron and the rice and beans, and she could actually lose 25 pounds, she would love it because her respiratory system would be better. Her cardiovascular system would be better and healthier. That's how the human body works. But she has no discipline. So she has to try to drag everybody else down with her.
Little girls walking around, so I can't wait to see what that does to them.
What did it mean to you? I love how so they say you made history walking in the straight size model. What did it mean to you to do that, number one? What did that feel like? And you wrote a very moving essay in Refinery 29 about your own mother's struggle. You wanted to tell that story. But first, what it meant for you, and then what effect it's having on your mom, and now you have a daughter.
Right. In 2014, I got the honor to open the Chromat show at New York Fashion Week, which was something I was told many times would never even be possible. But
well, I could have told you that it would be possible because they're always trying to open up gateways and doorways for you females, because they know that you females constantly need to be helped and chaperoned. Or because if you face any type of rejection or rebuttal to your asinine ideologies, that you'll have mental breakdowns. So you need help at all times. You need mental help at all times. I guarantee you this woman here most likely has a psychiatrist that she goes to. I have little doubt about that. And I know for sure that the female sitting next to her, the Caucasian female, she definitely has a psychologist or a psychiatrist that she goes to. I promise you that. The more attention mongering that they do, the more mental help they need.
But to get to open that one and then walk the Serena Williams show and close that one.
Serena Williams. Serena Williams invited you to her fashion show, huh? So I know for a fact there was nothing but freakism going on there, because Serena Williams. I'm sure that she wanted plus size models. She wanted bisexual models. She wanted transgender models. Well, she didn't need a transgender, especially if she was going to walk the catwalk. But, all type of freaks was probably at her show.
Was such a huge milestone for our industry and our possibilities and opportunities. And I think that was the first moment that people really saw us and were like, oh my God, why wouldn't they walk alongside regular models? Why would we exclude them? We should just have a lineup of fully diverse individual women who can rock the clothes, because that's the goal, is for us to be able to look at the runways, to look at the billboards, to look at these ads and see ourselves and know that we can rock that cool clothing as well. But there is...
Yeah, you know what? And like I said, they should have big old fat 350-pound, 5'9" men come out there with their man titties and their big beer bellies. And I would just love to see how the females would respond to male models who are obese. And I've always said this, the same people who always want to talk about how they don't want to be judged, they're always the most judgmental people. So I know this for a fact. The so-called liberal woman is the biggest hypocrite. All right. They are the biggest hypocrites on the earth because that's their nature. The agent of chaos is to be a hypocrite, to be divided within themselves, to be focused around self-aggrandizement. So the things that they want for themselves, they will not allow for others. OK, so if these females were to see an overweight man at any form of a modeling show, they'll be the first one to say, what's this fat bastard doing on stage? Guaranteed. Guaranteed. The liberal woman by nature is divided within herself.
But there is pushback, guys, and I know you've heard it from people say, but you're promoting unhealthy life. You're promoting unhealthy body types. You're promoting obesity. That this is not a good thing to promote. And to that you say what?
Well, we definitely hear that feedback from people, and to me that really underscores a bias that we have in our society. Beyonce said perfection is a disease of a nation. It's the soul that needs a surgery.
Now look at what this dumb bitch just did. Gayle King did something that Gayle King really does, which is ask a good question about the health issues with obesity and with promoting obesity. And this dumb bitch is going to go and quote Beyonce. She didn't go and say, well, you know what? According to the Surgeon General, such and such and such and such, because she couldn't. This is why, once again, you cannot listen to anything that these liberal females are saying, man. You just can't, because they're little kids playing make-believe. That's all they are. They're little kids playing make-believe, and they're trying to bluff you into believing them. Because if you don't believe them, they're going to go home and cry because they don't even believe their own bullshit. I'm telling you, these women do not even believe their own bullshit that they're shoveling. They just don't. So just the fact that Gayle King can ask her about the medical ramifications and repercussions of promoting obesity and trying to normalize women being overweight, and this female could respond back with a Beyonce lyric. And question, before Beyonce goes on tour, does she have a pot belly, or is she in the gym training for 3 hours a day? That's a question that I have.
And I think that's really true, that bias is really held very deep in our country. And what's happening is by really focusing on this standard of beauty that promotes thinness, we leave so many women out, and we really perpetuate shame. And I don't think that shame is a motivator for healthy behavior. I think we're talking about health, but what about mental health and the self-love that you need to be confident and exist in the world and to heal yourself?
Well, you know what? That's good. So now if a man says that he doesn't feel mentally healthy unless he can rape a bitch, that means that we have to worry more about his mental health than the viability of him being a rapist. Okay? If somebody says, you know what, I don't feel mentally healthy unless I can kill people on a serial killer level. So now we know that we have to go by what he feels and what he wants, because, according to his mental health status, he's not going to feel fulfilled unless he can do that. Once again, brothers, you never, ever, ever let the female establish standards in a functional society, or you end up with shit like this. And I promise you, both of these females are going home and they're popping pills. Period.
Right. I think the moment that women can see themselves in the media and in these features alongside everyone, and we have these diverse campaigns, what we create is this internal happiness that starts to seep out. And I think when we create this generation of women who are supporting each other and who are happy, we change the playing field.
Yeah. In other words, we can usurp the authority over men and tear down men, which is not really something that they want. They just act like they want it. These women do not really believe that they can run society. They're just getting off on the notion of attacking male hegemony. Believe me, in their heart of hearts, the woman knows that she can't lead flies to shit. They don't really want to run anything. They just get off on the thrill of attacking the male authority convention that you have in most of civilization. But they know that they really can't run shit.
Eliminate bias.
And we start casting them in the leading role, right?
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
And there's plenty of fat women who get leading roles already, particularly fat Caucasian women. And it's been going on for a long time. Like I said, even when I was a kid, Roseanne, she was the lead character on her show. Nell Carter on Give Me a Break, she was the lead character on her show. Fat women have always been on television. Of course, people have said things about their weight, and people say things about people's weight in general. In society, there have always been standards of beauty. Those are certain things that you have to deal with. A lot of times people who are obese are dealing with other mental issues. Sometimes it's molestation. Sometimes it's very, very low self-esteem. Things of that nature. Instead of trying to attack those problems that are leading to their obesity, they want to attack societal standards of health and normality and try to make everybody else believe that being a fat broad is okay, and it's not.
I like that word, that phrase, Denise, internal happiness. Yes. Need a little bit of that. Thank you both for Thank you both for coming today.
Good, thank you.
National.
These two crazy bitches. They're never going to be happy. All right. A woman's happiness comes from her being in a loving and functional relationship with her man, and them producing children. That's where a woman's happiness comes from. A functional relationship. All this other shit is not going to lead to any happiness from the woman. And if it could, believe me, they would be doing it. And they wouldn't be popping so many damn pills. But anyway, peace.